Hi, let's learn how to create visuals with your imported Excel workbooks in a Power BI. I have imported a sample company name list in Power BI. You can see I have a country of the company and company description and their founded year and what type of industry, name, etc. So the visual I am going to require out from it, I want to see how many companies were founded in a particular year. So I'm going to use a stacked column chart for that, and in x-axis I'm going to use founded year, and in y-axis I'm going to use a name. In y-axis it is by default taking count of name. If you want to change it, you can click and change it. The count and count distinct, there is a different. The different is the count entirely counts how many datas are available in that particular column, data cells. The distinct count, how it works, for example, if the company name is XYZ and the name is repeated 4 times in the column, so the distinct count will not count it as a 4, it will count it as a 1. So I'm going to click on distinct count here, so you can see the values are changing in my graph as well. Since I want the exact values, I am going with a distinct count. Let me make it bigger so we can work further on this. So this is how by default my visual looks. So if I want to change the way it looks, I will go into the format visual, and I will have a multiple options to change how it looks. So you can see the first option is x-axis. Either I can on the x-axis or off it. You can see the x-axis values are disappearing when I'm turning it off. Same goes for y-axis as well. Further, in x-axis you have a multiple options. In a type there are two options here, continuous and categorical. I'm going to choose this one, so the data will look like this. So I want that every columns to have a respective year, so I'm going with this type. So I can increase or decrease the font size, I can change the font size, and I can change the color, and I can change the with bold, italic, and I can give underline. There are multiple options. You can either keep the title of the x-axis or you can turn it off, and in title as well you have multiple options like in the earlier one. So I'm going to keep the title now. In y-axis, same as x-axis, you have the same options here as well. In y-axis you have a values, so the values size and other things you can increase. Here the values which we are seeing is, let us increase the values here. So as you can see, the y-axis values font size is increasing. Okay, now let us go to the grid lines. The grid lines, or you can either keep it on or you can off it. The grid lines are the background lines behind this graph. As you can see, the style is selected to dot. I will just select a solid and I will change the color so that it will look, you can all see that. So you can see the background grid lines here. So you can, I'm going to turn it off because I don't need it for this graph. And one more option, zoom slider. Zoom slider, I will explain what this function is. You can see here I am seeing a zoom slider. Zoom slider works in a way so you can zoom into the data. As you can see, I am zooming into the graph to see the graph more clearly. Okay, I can zoom in, I can zoom out. Okay, and in zoom slider you can have it for a x-axis or a y-axis. If you have a secondary y-axis, you can have it for a secondary y-axis as well. Okay, And in columns you can change the column colors and spacing between the columns, and all other options are here. So data labels are nothing but the datas for each and every columns shown here. Okay, I'm going with the data labels. In data labels I can change it series, all, and even orientation, how it should look, horizontal or vertical. I'm going with the vertical now. Okay, so that the vertical will look better. And position, I will keep it in inside end, so it will look better. And background colors, you can change it. If you are going with the inside end, the color background you cannot change it. If it is outside, then you can change it. And plot area background, you can change it. Okay, and in, if you go into the general, you have a general settings of the visual. Title of this graph, so you can see the title of this graph is here. So I'm going to change this graph count of name by founded. So I'm going to change year founded, FOUND, founded year versus number of company. Okay, now the heading is changed. So I can change the font and size if I want to keep it in bold. Where I want to be aligned left or right, center, I'm going to it is aligned in center, so I have the aligned. Okay, you can keep a wrap text or you can turn it off. Effects, background color, what should be the background color of this graph, I can change it. So I'm going with the background color of this one. Okay, or I will go with the white background colors. Visual borders, do you want a shadow for this? You can create a shadow and you can turn it off. Header icons, tooltips, if you go near this column, you have a tip coming up, founded year and count of the name. Okay, so you can have it. Okay, you can change the text options as well, how big the font size and everything, and background also you can change it. Okay, thank you. That's all about the visuals, how to change it. This is an example visual for a stacked column chart. It goes for all the visual, how to change it. You can explore the possibilities of editing the visuals and everything. And if you want, if by mistake if you have selected the stacked columns and if you want to change it to some other visuals, you don't need to delete it and insert it again. You can directly select this visual and click on the visual you wanted. It will directly convert. Okay, you don't have to change it. I will go to the line as well. As you can see, in line also it is coming up. So you don't have to change the delete the visual and create once again. You can just select the visual and click on the visual type you want it. Thank you. Let me know in comments if you have any doubts.